Hey everyone, it's Nancy. In the last couple of days I've received about 4 private messages in regards to my crackled boxes, and I sent basically the best response I could and typing out the steps that I use, but I thought that it might be better if I did a video and explained to you what I use and the steps that I take. So the first crackle medium that I tried was this one by Folk Art. It's just called Folk Art Crackle Medium, and you can get this at your craft stores, and they even do carry this one at Walmart. So you can get this one at Walmart too. It just comes in a smaller bottle like your regular normal paints do. This one that I got, this one is by Deco Art, and it's called Weathered Wood. Same thing, it's a crackle medium, and they're just called, you know, 2 different things because they're by 2 different companies. Same effect, same product. You know, the reason I got this one, to be honest, is because this was sold out at Michael's. And then this one was also on clearance for like, I don't know, $2.99 or $1.99. So, you know, I had to have a crackle medium, so I grabbed it and it's worked fine. So either one of these that you get and want to use, you can. I know there's other ones out there, but I can't speak for those. But these 2 I can tell you I've had great results with. The main thing, and a lot of the messages that I got, is that they did try to heat set to speed along the process. Don't heat set them. If you're doing, you know, small embellishments or letters or whatever, that's fine. You can definitely heat set that because you really don't need the full effect. But if you're doing a box or a bigger project, you really need to let this, you know, take its time and cure the way that it needs to be cured. When they're finished curing and they're ready to apply the top layer of paint, they won't be tacky to the touch, okay? If you touch your item and it's still tacky, it's not ready. So just give it a little bit of time. If you put your crackle medium on in the morning, it'll be ready to go by that evening. Normally what I do is I put it on at night, let it sit overnight, and then by the next day it's good to go. So if you really want to get a true crackle effect, don't heat set it, let it cure on its own. And you just have to remember, it's a process. You're not going to do this in 10 minutes. So if you really want the correct effect, then, you know, let it do its thing. So in this video, what I'm going to do is we're going to crackle this little box. And I'll be able to show you my process and how I do it. And I'll do it in sections because I'll have to, because of the time needed for this to cure. But I will show you each step, and hopefully that will help the ones that had questions. So stay tuned for the next steps. Okay, so for this step, what we're going to do is we're going to apply our base coat of paint to our box. And what your base coat is the color that's going to show through your cracks under your crackle medium and under your top coat. So for this box, I want to do what I call a reverse crackle, which means I'm going to put my lightest color on the bottom, which will be this vanilla, and then I'm going to put a chocolate brown on the top. I love the way this looks. So it doesn't matter what brand of acrylic paint you use. This one is the Craft Smart. You get it at Michael's. They had this for like, I don't know, $4 for $1, something crazy, and I have a ton of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the little box with the base coat of the vanilla paint, and I'll be back. First layer of paint dry, and then I'm going to come back and do a second coat just to make sure it's completely covered. because it looks a little streaky, and I want to make sure that it has good coverage, and I need to do the bottom too. So be back in a few minutes once this is dry, and we'll do the second coat. Okay, I think the first coat is pretty well dry, and I'm going to do a second coat. And I do the inside and the outside of my boxes. Normally when I crackle them all the way. So of course you don't have to do the inside, but I just like that finished look. So I'm just going to apply a second coat just to make sure there's good coverage, and that that lighter color of paint is really going to come through when we apply the crackle. So I'm going to finish crackling this, and I'll be right, painting this, sorry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just checked the boxes and they are basically dry. The second layer of paint inside and out, so we're good to go. The lid's good. Might need a second layer in here, but I'm not going to worry about that because I might put paper there. So the next step is your crackle medium, and since I'm out of the folk art one, we're going to use the Deco Art weathered wood. And I'm shake this up a lot because it kind of, to me, looks a little separated. I mean, it's probably not, but better safe than sorry, I guess. So I just shake it up pretty good. And I wanted to give mad props to Miss Gina for this brush. This is a makeup brush that you get at Target. It's by e.l.f. It's a $1. And it is my absolute favorite paintbrush. So thank you, Gina. Okay, so we're gonna start applying the crackle medium. So we'll start with the lid. I love this little non-stick mat. Isn't it cute? I think it's by Basil. I've had it forever. So what I'm gonna do is just put some on like that, and then you're gonna brush it on. And you want a fairly good coat. Now this is not enough, so I'm going to add some more. And I did notice with this one, with this Deco Art one, as it dries, it kind of looks like it's splotching and streaking, but it's totally fine. No worries. First time I used it, I thought I was going to have a heart attack, but it was okay. So I'm going to do the inside. I'm going to put a ton in there because you want it thick, okay? You want a nice thick coating. Think of it like icing a cake. You want it thick. You want it really coated, every part with a nice layer. And I just load it in there. And I'll show you once I get the inside done how it looks. And you can definitely tell where it is because it's all nice and shiny. If you are cheap with this and you do a thin coat, you're not going to get the effect. So again, thick coating. I'm going to bring some of this to the outside because I did put a whole lot on the inside. But you can see, maybe on the inside, how it's nice and coated. It's got a thicker layer. And then I'm just going to do the whole outside of the box as well. See, a pretty good amount just to do that one little side. So don't be cheap with it. This stuff isn't that expensive. And the thicker the layer, the bigger your cracks are going to be. And I think that that's one of the problems, is everybody's saying their cracks are too small. They don't get nice long cracks. So don't be cheap with it. Apply it pretty thick. See, that's about a quarter size. It's pretty thick. Paint it on. Make sure you get all your edges. You can see on this side, hopefully, there kind of looks like it's bubbling and some lines in it. Again, it's totally fine. You can see on the little lid how it looks like the little dips and dimples and stuff. It's totally fine, no worries. So inside of my box is covered, outside of my box is covered. I'm gonna let it sit up till late, and I'll be back to show you how it looks once it's cured. So I'll be back in a few hours. Hey everyone, I just checked on the drying process for the lid in the box, and I wanted to show you what I was talking about on how it will look splotchy, streaky, dimply. This is normal, so don't freak out, but I just wanted you to be able to see a little bit better what I meant by how it would look all wonky. So anyway, I'll be back later. Hey everyone, it's Nancy. So the box is dry. I've actually let this sit overnight. I did the beginning part of this video yesterday, and so this is the next day, and I want to show you how it looks. You can see like the dips and wrinkles and, you know, like that in it, but it's totally fine. I think that's what actually helps it to crackle. So what I normally do is, like for this paint that I'm going to use, I don't really like this paint. You really have to really mess with it to get it a consistency that you need for a one coat. So what I do is I just will add some water. And I don't have any water in my little bottle, so I'm just going to add some real quick. So I don't want to pour it directly from a water bottle because I'll probably pour out too much. But all I do is I just add a little bit of water to my paint because you need it thin down, not like a whitewash thin, but thin enough so that you can do a one coating. And I'm going to move this and just show you how this pours out so you can kind of see the consistency of the paint. So when the paint's like that, here's my box. I'm going to get my brush all full of paint, and again I'm going to use my favorite brush, and you want to use a brush that's anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. Don't use a foam brush, they just don't work the same. And what you want to do is get your starting point, and you're going to go start to end. Okay, one swipe. You cannot back brush with this, you guys, so you got to make sure you get it in one swipe, just like that. Okay, make sure you get plenty of paint on your brush. On that first swipe I did not have enough paint, so I'm going to go back over it. I turn the lid, just one swipe. You cannot do this. Okay, you can't do that. You have to do it in one swipe. So I'm going to do this side of the box and just continue that one swipe motion and just go beside your last swipe. Try not to brush over it, but try to go right beside it on your lines. Need some more paint. And see, with this paint thinned down the way it is, I'm able to get that one swipe coverage. one swipe. Okay, you can see on this side where it's starting to crackle, and you can see on the lid where it's starting to crackle. So I'm going to do this side, and then I'm going to let it sit and dry for a few minutes, and then we'll go on to other parts of the box and do any little tiny touch-ups we might need to do. I'm going to go ahead and hit this little top edges here. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a couple of minutes and I'll be back. Okay, so we're pretty much dry. There's still a couple of spots that are a little wet. Not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and do the sides of the box lid. Maybe by the time I'm done with that, then we can do the inside of the box. Sorry, I'm trying not to go off camera, but I can't see. Ugh, it's so dark and gloomy here. It's awful. We've had rain for like a solid week, and I'm about fed up. Okay, let's attempt to sit that down. So I'm going to do the inside bottom. Definitely need more paint. A brush. Inside's a little harder when you're doing the bottom, but like I said, I'm probably going to cover the inside with paper, and so I'll really only need a border anyway, so I'm not too concerned with the inside being, you know, perfect. I know y'all can't see this, I'm sorry. I'll show you as soon as I'm done. I got one more swipe. So there's the inside. It's not crackling yet. You can see how great the outside looks. And okay, so while that dries, I want to talk to you about these paints. So, okay, as you see on the lid here, it says mixed custom brown. This color was espresso, but it was not the chocolate brown that I wanted. So what I did is I mixed a couple of different browns in here and a little bit of black to get the color that I wanted. Well, now that it's mostly gone, I use this for a custom mixing container. So, and I can also thin my paint down in this. For my, like for this vanilla one, this container is basically empty. So what I do with this is I'll take the new vanilla and pour some in here, and then I can add water to it and thin it down how I need it. So I can add the vintage white or that vanilla or even the ivory to this and thin it down for my top coats. So save one of these when it gets almost gone. Don't throw it out, so you can use this for thinning your paint down for doing this. That's just one of my little tricks. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to let it sit up and dry, and I'll be back. Alright you guys, so here is the finished crackled box. Turned out pretty great. It's the inside. Nice little paper mache box, so you see it works just as good as on this as it does on wood, and the top even still fits, because sometimes that can be a problem. So yeah, there you go. If you have any questions, just let me know. I hope that this helped and answered some questions, but if you have any more, let me know. Thanks for watching.